What's up out there? Welcome back to some more Melvor Idle Adventure mode, and we are on episode 25. Now, I started going over my notes to what I've done in the last week, and I had to go check my previous video because I kind of forgot it. I know I did this step, but I would have sworn it was in the previous video and not in this one. And that's working on crafting. I've been doing all combat all week long, and the crafting portion was like maybe for a day or something. Like I put the last video out last Saturday, and now it's this Saturday. And I've just been mostly focused on combat, but I did get crafting from 106 to 111. So I must have started that after that video or something. And I was probably doing like Elderwood bodies or whatever, because these things are like 6,000 XP or over 6,000 XP by the time you put all the little XP boosters and stuff on for this skill. So the reason this is important and the reason that I did that was because I don't know, I had like 300,000 Elderwood logs. I had let this build up for a while. I had gotten some Township, well, these little, from the trader here, you can get the food, the wood boxes and stuff like that. I'd gotten some of those out. And what I was really driving to do is to unlock these rings and amulets further down the list. Specifically like this Iridium Runestone where you get 5% max magic hit, and tripled for a melee enemy. There's one of these for each of the combat styles, and I've got all of those unlocked now. I figured that would be a nice way to help out, especially with having the passive slot unlocked. So like I can equip those up in the passive and do more damage against the Slayer tasks and stuff that I've been working on. So I did that. But like I said, I totally forgot I did this because this took maybe a day, like a half a day or a day or something like that. It wasn't very long because you burn through the Elderwood so quickly. But I'm still not even into the expansion yet. I'm still in the base game. I still haven't defeated the Impending Darkness event and all that stuff. So we're actually just way ahead of schedule, which is kind of cool in some ways and we're just blasting through content in other ways. So I don't know how I feel about that. Like I'm looking at my combat levels and I'm all over 100. You know, I don't know where I was. I could probably go back because I think I had these shadow levels or whatever they're called turned on. But I could probably go back into older videos. But I feel like we're making so much faster progress with all of the little XP boosters and stuff we get, all the little stuff from Township. This feels like it's way faster to level up pretty much everything than it did. Fire making still sucks and masteries still suck. But I mean, for the most part, I'm way ahead of, I think, where I was with episode 25 on my original hard adventure mode series. But anyway, so I got all this crafting stuff up and then I immediately turned around and put it to use. Now you'll notice that I have all the red Slayer gear. That's because I have all of the Master Slayer tasks done and we're at 109 Slayer and I'm just about to hit 110. The cool thing about 110, and I think I mentioned it in the last video, is some of these agility pillars have 110 as a requirement. So yeah, defense of 110, Slayer of 110. So that's going to add some more Slayer negation if I get this. Minus 20% damage to dungeon monsters. We'll see how that works with Impending Darkness. And I probably need to run some of these to 99 Mastery to cut that in half. So I may have to do some agility work here at some point. Even though agility is at 120, I still need to work on the masteries because the red negative debuffs you get are cut in half once you've hit 99 mastery in that. So basically I've spent the last week just really cranking on Slayer tasks and stuff like that. So all of the Master Slayer stuff is done. What this gives me is with the Slayer gear now, this now has 6% damage reduction, which is not quite what the God gear gives, but it's still pretty decent. And I get an extra 3% chance to double loot per piece, so that's 6% chance, plus doubling items in thieving and a little bit more Slayer skill XP and a 20% flat Slayer negation. So basically with the stuff that I have set up now, with the agility obstacles that I have, these pieces of gear, I even have that, what are these things called? The Explorer's maps with the extra Slayer negation and stuff there, like the Unhallowed Wasteland. This used to be kind of a struggle in the original base game. But with all the expansion stuff that's in here and the Townships goodies that we have, it kind of just totally negates this and makes it real easy to get through. So I'm kind of curious to see how Impending Darkness is. And like, I could probably just jump in and do that right now. But I do need to get a couple of more clears on Into the Mist. And I'm not ready to do Impending Darkness just yet. I think we could probably do it with the gear that I have now, quite honestly. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But, you know, pushing forward, I want to get my gear squared away and get everything done. I kind of like to get, I don't know. I haven't really thought that far ahead. I've mainly focused on trying to get this Slayer Mastery stuff done. And then now I'm trying to go back and get other gear. So another thing that I spent time on was the Water God dungeon and the Earth God dungeon. So let me back out of combat here. I think I was missing the chest piece for the magic side. So I now have that. And I think I was missing probably the chest piece and maybe the plate legs or something. Like I was missing a few pieces for the melee side. So I ground out the Water God dungeon. I got the pet, the rest of my magic gear that I needed. And then I ground on the Earth God dungeon for a while. I got the Terran God sword and the chest piece and stuff like that. Like I finished out his gear. So we're good there. And I also got the Earth Layered Shield. So that's on my magic side now. And I think I had bought the max skill cape in the last video. So I've got that thing on now too, which is great. So this doesn't give damage reduction, but it gives all the bonuses of all the different skill capes plus the Slayer cape. So I don't have to worry about putting on those little Slayer items to get into certain areas or whatever. So I don't have to worry about that. So that's been pretty handy. Let's see, what else have I done? I went through, I do now have a Fury of the Elemental Zodiacs. So I've got one. Now the cool thing is you don't have to grind out, in previous characters that I've done, I've ground out all three of them myself. Well, what we have now under the elite side is, where's it at? Am I blind? You give one Fury of the Elemental Zodiacs in, 40 of the Amulets of Torture and 40 of the Amulets of Fury, and you get 4 Fury of the Elemental Zodiacs back in return. So, I think that's what I'm going to do. I've been working, well, I don't think that's what I'm going to do. I know that's what I'm going to do because that's what I've been working on. So I ground on the Fierce Devils for a very long time to get 40 of these Amulets of Torture. And what I was doing was basically doing the Master Slayer task during the day and then turning around and just idling the little devil guys overnight. Because I could sit there and put it on melee. Like this was basically my melee build for idling those guys, was just running this. I didn't really have to do anything, but I would put on the Chapel Noir and the looter pouch and all that and just let it rip. And that's kind of what I was doing that's what I was doing when this video started, was fighting the other side of that coin, which I'm clicking on the wrong stuff, is in the Desolate Plains. That's these Seething Horned Elites. These things drop Amulets of Fury. Now, I think some mod I've got tells me the chance. So this is a 1 in 635 chance of getting this. The other option you have of going through this is the Volcanic Cave. Where's that at in here? This is 1 in 90, but I don't feel like I get very many of these out of here. I don't know why. You're supposed to be able to get the Amulet of Fury from here and the Amulet of Torture from here. And these are supposed to be really good chances from the dungeons, but I always feel like I get all the other crap out of the dungeons but the stuff that I'm really looking for. And in my opinion, the dungeons take a little bit longer to run than it is to just keep killing those little guys. So that's why I just kill the little guys instead of killing the dungeons, instead of going through the dungeons. And at this point, there's really nothing in either one of these dungeons that I need unless I was going for like completion or something. Now, could I go in and get the pets out of them or something? Probably, that's probably not a bad idea. I don't know if, I got the pet out of the deep sea ship. I got the pet out of the volcanic cave. So there's like really not a whole lot, a little extra Slayer coin, a little damage to Slayer monster. Yeah. So I've already got those. So, I mean, at this point it would be, if I was working on completion, then I would worry about that, but I don't care. So pretty much that's what I'm doing right now, is just idling this out, trying to get the other pieces, the other Fury of the Elemental Zodiac amulets. So once we get that done, what do we need to do? Well, thinking out loud, Township. Oh, and I got to point out, man, those Holy Bulwark potions, I let those things run. I'm out of them now. I just let them crank through. I have 15 million prayer points. When you're idling stuff like these Rockin' or and I was wondering about this, and it worked out great. All this stuff here, these greater dragons and stuff like that, because they're breathing fire constantly, you're constantly getting hit. Every hit gives you a chance to get prayer points. And if you get something that just hits you once, like maybe I don't know, like the Griffins or something like that, they're going to hit you one time and maybe they don't hit you for a while. And, you know, you're not going to gain a lot of prayer points from them. But you get something like these dragons that are just constantly doing damage to you. You build up prayer points rapidly. And I have 15 million prayer points. I mean, even with like a million or two, I would be set for a long time to basically never shut off prayers. And at this point, I've got 15 million. So I'm good probably through the end of the game. Maybe not that far, but it's going to be a long time before I need to worry about prayer points. And even then, like I could go into alt magic and start doing, I don't have Holy Invocation 3 unlocked yet, but by the time I get that, I'm going to have the ability to start using all these urns up. What do I got? 659. So I've got a ton of these things sitting here. And, you know, you use the Crown of Relics and all that stuff, chance to double items and everything, like preserve resources, double items, all that kind of stuff, if the crown counts for alt magic. But by the time you factor in all that, like that's going to be way more than 659. I can't remember what these give you, but that's like another big pile of prayer points. Like it's just ridiculous how fast that builds up. So I am not complaining. It's kind of impressive to see how quickly that builds. But I need to get back and work on Township tasks. We are 6 tasks away, which this will be one of them here. Once I get this Fury of the Elemental Zodiacs one done. I also need to start killing those, these guys here, the greater skeletal dragons. I have not killed any of them. They popped up on my Slayer task, but I just kind of ignored them for a little while. Once I get those done, that gives me a bunch of these rings. So there's 2 tasks right there that could be done fairly easily. Of course, just killing off the Umboras, the Rockins and stuff like that. So maybe completing the damage reduction potions. I need to defeat Into the Mist a couple more times. Like there's a lot of these that are really close to being done fairly simply. And then of course, backing off to just the regular God dungeons and stuff like that. I mean, I could knock these out fairly quickly. So just staying in combat is not a big deal. The one thing that's going to become an issue is, of course, the magic side of things, which I'm running kind of low on fire runes. 160,000 isn't a small pile by any means, but it goes quickly. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I may have to stop and restock at some point. But anyway, that is what I am working on currently. And I guess I'll jump back into combat here. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're going to be doing going forward, is just trying to get those township tasks finished. Keep working on this part here. I really want to get all the Fury of the Elemental Zodiacs. That's probably going to be my next goal. Or that is going to be my next goal, I should say. So killing these guys for a little while, get 3 of those amulets so I can equip that. And then that's just going to, I mean, this is your in-game amulet right here. This Fez amulet is the in-game amulet. There's nothing better after that. There's other things that do something singularly better, but there is no better overall amulet. So once you get this, like, I mean, this is worth the grind. And then it's totally worth getting the grind for the Township task and turning it in and just getting all 3 of them. Well, 4, but so thinking out loud, once we get down, it's unfortunate that it's so far, but I kind of want to try way down in here's the Necromancer's Palace where you get the Necromancer's gear. I would love to be able to get that gear and try that, because you're going to have 5 equipment sets. And typically I've done 3 combat sets and then 2 non-combat sets. So what I would like to do is to maybe with this account, try the Necromancer's gear. I don't know. Make that a 4th combat set and just try it out and see what happens. Which, also thinking out loud, because we now have, maybe that's why they did it. We have Necromancy coming to RuneScape 3, so maybe they were ahead of the curve on this one. Anyway, I kind of want to check that out. You're getting 4 Fury of the Elemental Zodiac, so that's 4 combat styles, so maybe give that a shot. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. So anyway, that will do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.